Hello, everyone. Tonight we are going somewhere you've never been, and technically, somewhere that doesn't even exist. Picture this: the gentle drone of fluorescent lighting, the scent of stale carpet cleaner, and the faint ding of an elevator that always comes a second too late. You're alone, but not in a scary way, just in that comfy, liminal sort of way, like waiting for something interesting to happen. Now, you will fall into a deep sleep, even if you don't realize it yet. You don't have to keep track of every word. Let it drift over you like mist in a parking garage at midnight. Your brain can take a break now. I've got you. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. I'd love to know, where are you listening from tonight and what time is it there? Now, turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's embark on tonight's journey together. It's Tuesday. Again. You know this before your alarm even goes off. Something about the air feels extra beige, the sky too medium gray. The rhythm of the day clicking in like a preset metronome. It's not a bad day, just Tuesday. The kind of day where your coffee never tastes quite right, and every conversation starts with, "How was your weekend?" Even though it's way too late in the week to still be talking about that. At 7:32 p.m., you're in your apartment putting on the same slightly too warm hoodie. At 7:37, you're brushing crumbs off your jeans in the hallway, nodding to Mrs. Langston's cat who always sits in the same spot by the radiator. At 7:43, exactly as always, you press the elevator button and wait. Ding! The door's open. You step inside. It's quiet. Too quiet. Not spooky movie quiet, more like library just before closing quiet. You don't think much of it. You press the button for the lobby, lean back against the wall, and let your thoughts blur. But tonight, the elevator doesn't go straight down. Instead, it shudders. Just once. Like it remembered something it wasn't supposed to. Then the panel flickers. The numbers blink. 3, 2, 1, B, and then, you frown. There is no 7.5 in your building. Not unless the landlord has been hiding some seriously illegal remodeling. You poke the button again. The elevator hums, whirs, and then stops with a solid mechanical clunk. The doors slide open. You shouldn't step out, obviously. Every single horror movie and podcast has taught you this. But this is Tuesday, and you're too tired to fight narrative momentum. Also, you're weirdly curious. Plus, the hallway beyond the doors is softly lit and smells like warm paper and cinnamon. So, yeah, you step out. The carpet is deep maroon, and it swallows the sound of your steps like it's been starving for them. The walls curve slightly inward, making the hallway feel longer than it should be. There are no apartment numbers, no peepholes, just a row of tall, arched doorways. No doors, framed by antique sconces flickering with what looks like candlelight. Your phone has no service. Naturally. You open your camera, but the screen just glitches. When you try to snap a photo, the shutter sound plays in reverse and your phone restarts. Rude. You pick a direction and walk. The further you go, the softer everything sounds. Your breathing, your heartbeat, even your thoughts. You pass one archway where wind chimes tinkle despite zero breeze. Another opens into a room full of grandfather clocks, all ticking out of sync, like they're gossiping behind your back. You laugh softly to yourself. Okay, cool. The building grew a magic floor and no one told me. You don't expect an answer, but from somewhere up the hall, a voice replies, "Well, we didn't want to startle you." You freeze. "Keep walking," the voice adds. "You'll find me soon enough." You swallow your nerves and take the next few steps slowly, heart thudding with that sort of excited fear you get when you're about to click a suspicious link just to see what happens. You reach another doorway, slightly wider than the rest, and step inside. The room is cluttered but cozy. There are clocks everywhere, on shelves, in drawers, hanging from the ceiling on fishing wire, pocket watches, cuckoo clocks, glowing digital ones from the early 2000s. A pot of something herbal steams on a low table. The air smells like cardamom and secrets. In the center of it all sits an old man on a wooden stool, wearing suspenders and a single red sock. "You're late," he says, not unkindly, only by, let's see. He consults a sundial shaped like a turtle. 8 years and 3 months. You blink. "I think you've got the wrong person," he smiles. "Oh no, I never get people wrong, just times and places. You walk closer, brushing past a tangle of wind-up alarm clocks that chirp like birds. What is this floor? This, he says, gesturing with both arms. This is where the elevator drops lost intentions and almost choices. Tuesdays are heavy with them. You sit on a stool opposite him, because honestly, why wouldn't you? So what do you do here? I wait, he says. For you, specifically. To fix a mistake. You glance around. What mistake? He shrugs. That's for you to remember. I only hold the time. There's something in his eyes, like a clock that only runs in dreams. You open your mouth to ask more, but behind you, a cuckoo clock strikes a note so deep it sounds like thunder underwater. You look back. The old man is gone. The room is empty now. The clocks have stopped ticking. Only one remains. Above the doorframe, a digital display blinking in that pale green hospital clock font. You stand. The hallway outside is darker now, quieter. The sconces flicker lower, and you swear the carpet feels warmer underfoot. Time to find the elevator again. Or not. Maybe there's more to see, more to understand. You turn left this time, where the hallway bends unnaturally like a Salvador Dali sketch, and where soft jazz seems to drift from the next archway. Whatever's waiting for you, it's definitely not part of your building's floor plan, but it is, apparently, part of your Tuesday. Waiting for continue. Follow the jazz. It's faint, like a dream half-remembered, the saxophone weaving through the air as if the hallway itself is humming along. The sconces flicker in time with the rhythm now, casting gentle shadows that sway across the maroon carpet. It smells faintly of pipe smoke and rosemary. Or maybe toast. You can't be sure. Another archway appears, this one framed in dark wood and wrapped in ivy that definitely wasn't there a moment ago. There's no door, but a thick velvet curtain hangs in the opening, slightly parted like a stage about to reveal something weirdly. Domestic. You step through. The music swells slightly, and you find yourself in what can only be described as a very well-furnished den. There's a fireplace, lit somehow, despite there being no chimney. A Persian rug covers the floor. Books are stacked in precarious towers. A record player spins lazily in the corner. And on the couch, wearing a tweed vest and sipping tea from a floral china cup, is a wolf. Not a metaphorical wolf. Not a person in a costume. A full, actual, talking wolf. Ah, he says, setting down his cup. You again. You blink. Me? Again? The wolf smiles, showing far too many polite teeth. Of course, you come here every Tuesday. You never remember, and I never take it personally. You shift your weight. You're not going to eat me, right? Please, he snorts. It's Tuesday. I'm vegetarian today. You try not to laugh, but you do. It echoes softly in the den, bouncing off leather-bound books and polished hardwood. The wolf pats the seat beside him. You sit. Dreams, he says, pouring you a cup of tea, are lazy creatures. They often reuse faces and settings. But this floor, this is where discarded dreams go to stretch their legs. You look at the cup. The tea is lavender, but the steam smells like vanilla ice cream. And you are a dream? He nods solemnly. A dream of a dream? You imagined me once when you were 7. Gave me a monocle and an accent, though I dropped both. Too stuffy. You sip the tea. It's exactly the temperature of comfort. So what do you do here? I listen, the wolf replies, curling his tail over his paws. And sometimes I remember things you're not ready to. Like what? He shrugs. You were going to be a painter. Or maybe a dentist. There was a week in 8th grade where you were convinced you'd become an underwater archaeologist. You had a whole thing about ancient sea maps. You laugh again. I barely remember that. The wolf raises an eyebrow. I didn't say you remembered. I did. The record player skips, then starts playing something else. Slow, dreamy, a little French. The wolf rises. Walk with me. You follow him through a side hallway that definitely wasn't visible when you entered. It leads to a long gallery, the walls lined with framed pictures that keep changing when you're not looking at them directly. One moment they show a rainy city street, the next a sunlit beach, then a birthday party you swear you never attended, but there's your face right there, frosting on your nose. These are the lives you've almost lived, the wolf explains. Every Tuesday, the elevator brings you back to the threshold between what is and what might have been. You stop at one image. You sitting on a bench, sketchbook in hand, surrounded by pigeons. You've never drawn in public, but you feel like you could have. Do they ever stop changing, you ask? Only when you do, he says gently. You turn away. Back in the den, your tea is gone. The couch is now occupied by a small stuffed owl who blinks slowly when you make eye contact. "I think it's time you moved on," the wolf says, his voice now coming from behind the fireplace. "How do I get back to the elevator?" "Just follow the hallway. It always loops back if you ask nicely." You hesitate at the curtain. "Will I see you again?" The wolf pauses. "I hope not, but you probably will." You step into the hallway. The music fades, replaced by silence thick enough to chew on. The sconces flicker again, twice this time like winks. You walk for a while, or maybe not long at all. The hallway doesn't obey normal physics. It feels like it's bending around your thoughts. Eventually, you reach a small landing. A tiny brass sign reads, "Shh, maintenance," in fading typewriter font. Because, sure, why not? You push the door open and step into a utility corridor that smells aggressively like WD-40 and burned toast. The elevator is there, but it's open, and inside is someone hunched over with their head and shoulders buried deep into the ceiling panel, muttering. The person is translucent. Just a bit, like an old TV with bad reception. Their tool belt is floating about an inch too low, and their boots make no sound on the elevator floor. Hi? The ghostly mechanic flinches, banging their head. Ow! Gah, seriously? Every time I get one of these conduits rewired, someone starts narrating again. You blink. Sorry? They float down and squint at you. Their jumpsuit reads Paul in ghostly embroidery. No worries, just you're not supposed to see this part. You glance up at the open ceiling, where wires move like spaghetti in a breeze. What is this part? Paul sighs, floating to your eye level. Let's call it narrative plumbing. Every Tuesday, something leaks, usually regret, sometimes ambition, occasionally jelly beans. You raise an eyebrow. Jelly beans? Don't ask, he mutters. He pulls a wrench out of thin air and tightens something with a sound like a sigh. Is this going to keep happening? You ask. He shrugs. Until the elevator forgets the floor exists. Or you do. Whichever comes first. You step into the elevator. Paul floats beside you, tools jangling quietly. Oh, and don't press any buttons that flicker purple, he warns, unless you want to meet your inner child, literally. He throws pudding. You glance at the panel. All the usual buttons are there. But one of them, the one marked R, is glowing faintly lavender now. Of course. Paul tips an invisible hat and vanishes with a pop. The elevator doors begin to close on their own, but before they shut completely, a breeze wafts in from behind you. It smells like wet grass and garden soil. A small, very polite sign appears above the panel. Next stop, rooftop garden. You sigh, then smile. Okay, sure, why not? Tuesday's not done with you yet. The elevator doesn't jerk this time. It glides, silky smooth, like it's suddenly been upgraded to first class. The lavender glow brightens slightly, and a soft chime plays. Not the usual ding, but something more melodic. Harpish, maybe. Or like someone plucking rubber bands in a really relaxing way. The air in the elevator changes. Warmer, damp, earthy. When the doors open, you don't step onto a rooftop. Not really. Instead, you walk into a garden that stretches far beyond what the building's footprint should allow. A low mist clings to the path, and tiny lights hover in the air like friendly fireflies on a budget. The plants are dense and vibrant, but strange. Some leaves curl inward like they're hiding secrets. Others shimmer faintly, like glitter was banned but still found a way in. There's no sound of city traffic, no wind. Just the soft crunch of your footsteps on gravel and the distant tick-tick of irrigation that you never actually see. Then you notice something. Off. The plants are moving, but not in the wind. They're reversing. A tulip folds back into its bud. A vine curls up its own stem. A burst of dandelion fluff zips backward into its pod with a tiny poof. Time here, you realize, is doing the moonwalk. You touch a leaf, just to see. It ungrows from your fingers, shrinking away politely. A little giggle breaks the quiet. Not creepy, just unexpected. You spin around. A child stands behind you. Small, messy-haired, maybe 7 or 8, dressed in overalls and a cape made from a towel. Classic backyard superhero energy. They hold something in their hand, a piece of paper, folded once, slightly crumpled. Important. Hi, the kid says. Took you long enough. You squint. Do I know you? They grin. I'm you, duh. You blink. Like, future me? The kid snorts. Please, like I'd ever wear those shoes. They point at your sneakers in mock horror. No, I'm past you, or maybe future past. It's complicated. You sit on a nearby stone bench because apparently this is just your life now. Okay, sure. We're doing the meet your inner child thing. Technically, it's a clone of your inner child stored in the Tuesday dimension, but whatever. Labels are lame. They offer you the folded paper. You hesitate. It's not a bill, they say. It's a list. You unfold it slowly. It's handwritten in looping, childish letters. You recognize the writing immediately, your own from forever ago. At the top it says, things I'm going to do for sure. Below that, a list. Live in a treehouse. Eat cereal for dinner every day. Write a book about dragons. Never work in an office. Find out what clouds feel like. Have a secret garden with a snack drawer. Never forget my imaginary friends. Own a dog named Rocket. Invent something really weird. Be happy even on Tuesdays. You stare at it for a while. It's both sweet and slightly devastating. Wow, you murmur. I really thought I was going to eat cereal every night? The kid shrugs. Hey, we had goals, you sigh. How many of these have I actually done? They glance at the list. Maybe 3.5. You flirted with writing that dragon book, but then you got distracted by spreadsheets and adult taxes. You look at the garden. It's still ungrowing, petals folding back into buds, colors fading in reverse. Why here, you ask? Why show me this now? Because it's Tuesday, they say simply, and you forget the list most Tuesdays. You nod slowly. So what happens if I try to remember? They grin again. Then next week, the elevator might take you somewhere else, somewhere forward. You fold the paper carefully and slip it into your pocket. The kid seems satisfied. Oh, they add, as if remembering. One more thing. They point behind you. You turn. A path has appeared, arched over by glowing vines and lined with tiny lanterns made of glass and whispers. Follow that, the kid says. It'll take you back, and no pudding this time, I promise. You laugh despite yourself. Thanks. They salute you dramatically. Tell the wolf I said hi. You walk the path. The garden around you continues to reverse, shrubs shrinking, soil smoothing, the sun rising backward in the sky. It's like nature's editing itself. At the end of the path is a wooden door, just a door. Standing on its own, no frame, no wall, just there. A brass plaque reads, "Every version of you is welcome here." Shh! You touch the knob. As the door swings open, it reveals a hallway you recognize. It's from earlier. The maroon carpet, the soft sconces, the endless feeling curve. But something is different. The hallway feels warmer, lighter, and someone is waiting in the middle of it. A woman with big glasses and a denim jacket. She's flipping through a magazine that reads Lost Versions Weekly and sipping something from a neon pink reusable cup. She looks up and grins. Hey, new here? You squint. I don't think so. I've been through this hallway twice already. She laughs. Oh yeah? Well, that's like saying you've only seen one Tuesday. Trust me, they loop. She walks beside you as you wander back toward where you think the elevator might be. You met the garden yet? She asks. Just now. She nods. Let me guess. Backward time, talking plant, small version of yourself with opinions about footwear? You stare. How do you know? She pulls a list from her jacket pocket. It matches yours exactly. Oh, she says casually. I'm one of the others, the Tuesday folk. We show up here sometimes when our elevators go rogue. There are others? Loads. But don't worry, we're nice. Mostly. Except Glenn. Glenn keeps rearranging the vending machines. Why? She shrugs. He says it's art. You both chuckle. At the next turn, she stops. This is where I exit. Good luck remembering more next week. You nod, watching as she disappears through an archway labeled Dreams Reconsidered. You walk alone again. The elevator is waiting at the end. Still open. Still humming that soft tune. You step inside, one foot, then the other, and turn just as the doors begin to close. Somewhere behind you, you swear you hear the wolf laugh. You press the button. Only this time, there's a new floor added to the panel. Just one. It says, Paper Voices. Waiting for continue? The new button, Paper Voices, doesn't glow like the others. It pulses, gently, like a breath. You stare at it for a moment, then do the thing any reasonable person on an impossible elevator would do. You press it. There's no jolt, no music, just the elevator doors closing with a soft shh, like pages turning. Then comes the faintest whisper of movement. Not mechanical, organic. The elevator feels less like it's descending or rising, and more like it's folding, and then unfolding. When the doors part, you're no longer inside a building. You're inside a forest. but not the kind that makes you think of squirrels and overpriced hiking boots. No, this forest is made entirely of paper. The trees are tall, their trunks rolled from newsprint and book spines, their leaves fluttering with scribbles and old receipts. The air smells faintly of ink and old libraries. Every footstep crunches like you're walking on late homework and forgotten love notes. It's quiet, eerily so, until you realize the rustling isn't wind. It's murmuring. Thousands of whispered voices, all just out of sync. You can't make out any one of them clearly, but the hum of it is comforting, like falling asleep next to a busy coffee shop while wrapped in a heavy blanket. You pick a path at random, because of course there are paths, and walk. A tiny paper bird flutters by. Its wings are folded sheet music. It chirps a single high-pitched B-flat and disappears into the trees. Another few steps, and a book rises from the dirt. No, not a book, your book. The dragon book you never wrote. Its spine creaks as it opens, flipping rapidly until it finds the page where a knight is crying because his sword has feelings and doesn't want to fight anymore. You reach out to touch the page and hear it. You wrote me once, in a notebook. Then you tore me out. You pull your hand back. Sorry. The book closes itself and sinks back into the soil. You continue on and the whispers grow louder, still soft but less random, like the voices are getting interested in you. Eventually, you come to a clearing. At the center is a giant desk made entirely of paper clips and highlighter caps. Behind it sits a woman with no face. Literally none. Just a perfectly smooth oval, like a mannequin that shops at existential crises. She types on a keyboard made from sticky notes and bookmarks, her fingers fluttering like a pianist. You approach slowly, she pauses, and the typing stops. The voices all hush at once. File retrieval? She asks, in a voice that sounds like two radios trying to agree on a station. Maybe, you offer. What kind of files? Memory transcripts, emotional residues, discarded plot lines, unfinished apologies. You raise an eyebrow. I could use an unfinished apology. She nods once, then types something that sounds like crumpling paper. A drawer slides out from the base of her desk. You peek in. Inside is a single cassette tape labeled, I Should Have Been There, May 12th, 2018. You don't even have to think. You know exactly what that was. The day you didn't call. The day someone waited. The day the elevator of real life skipped a floor you didn't even know existed. You hold the tape in your hand and it vibrates slightly, like it's anxious. Or maybe that's you. Do I listen to this, you ask? The faceless woman tilts her head. Only if you want to hear what you would have said. A small pastel-colored tape player materializes on a tree stump nearby. You insert the tape. Press play. Your own voice begins to speak. A little scratchy, a little younger. It says, I don't have the right words, but I'm trying. I missed the signal. I was scared. I thought if I said nothing, it would be kinder than saying the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I should have been there. Then silence. The trees murmur again, softer now, like they're listening to your silence. You rewind the tape. Then instinctively you whisper into it, I forgive you. The tape warms in your hand. The faceless woman types one last thing, and a printer beside her, made entirely of string and dried glue, ejects a paper flower. You take it. The petals read, You remembered. That matters. You tuck the flower into your shirt pocket and turn to leave. As you walk back through the forest of folded lives and pressed pages, more books rise to the surface. One of them opens just enough to whisper a joke you once made in 6th grade and forgot immediately. You laugh. It still holds up. Another bird flits past, a haiku scribbled on its wing. Regret is just ink, spilled on dreams you haven't read. Dry it in the sun. You nod to the bird. It nods back. Possibly. When you reach the edge of the paper forest, you expect the elevator. But instead, there's a mirror. A full-length antique thing with gold trim and a crack running diagonally across the glass. You see yourself. Kind of. It's you, but clearer. The version of you that did call. That did write the dragon book. That did live in the treehouse for at least one glorious summer before discovering spiders. They wink at you. Don't worry, you're getting closer. The mirror ripples. You step forward, and suddenly you're in the elevator again. Just like that. The flower is still in your pocket. The tape player is gone. The button-marked Paper Voices has stopped pulsing. You look at the panel. A new one has appeared. It's not a letter. It's a word. Almost. You stare. And then, against your better judgment, and because, honestly, what else is Tuesday for? You press it, waiting for continue. You expect something dramatic when you press almost. You expect sparks, maybe a swirl of fog, a trumpet blast heralding your approach to some long-forgotten destiny. Instead, the elevator just sighs, like a deflated balloon politely giving up. Then the floor shifts, not moves exactly, but exhales. The light dims until you're surrounded by a warm dusk, like the inside of an old movie theater during the trailers. Dust motes float like miniature ghosts. The doors open. At first, you think you've stepped into your old high school gym. The polished wood floor, the faint tang of sweat and cleaning chemicals. Banners from forgotten sports teams hang above. But as your eyes adjust, you realize the bleachers are filled, not with students, but with you. All versions of you. One in a college hoodie, hair too long, and dreams half-packed in a backpack. One in your first suit, uncomfortable and sweating through a job interview you never wanted. One sitting cross-legged in hiking boots, cheeks sunburnt, clutching a journal. There's even one version wearing a blanket like a cape and holding a bowl of cereal like it's a crown. He raises it to you solemnly. Captain of the Crunch. You salute him before your brain catches up. You're in a stadium of almosts. Every version of you that almost was, but wasn't. A buzzer sounds, not harsh. More like a microwave saying your pizza rolls are ready. A spotlight appears in the center of the court. A folding chair waits. You walk to it, feeling every eye. You. Follow. As you sit, the scoreboard above lights up with scrolling words. The Committee of Nearly Used presents Tuesday Feedback Round. A hush falls. Then, one by one, the versions of you stand and speak. The first to step forward is Tattoo You, the version who got that Phoenix sleeve when you were 22 and went to Barcelona instead of grad school. I almost made us fearless, they say, arms crossed. But you blinked. Still, you packed the bag. That was something. They sit. You nod, heart tight. Next is Career Pivot You, who looks exhausted but satisfied. You Googled how to change your life at 3 a.m. Then you went back to sleep. That one nap changed nothing and everything. The versions keep coming. Soft-spoken You. You almost told them you loved them in the rain. Almost. But hey, you let them borrow your umbrella. You watched the signs. Overanalyzed everything. You were wrong 92% of the time, but right once. And that's what mattered. Even Dancing Without Shame You gets up, doing a little spin as they talk. You almost let go at that wedding in '09. Almost. Instead, you clapped off beat and pretended your feet hurt. Classic you. There's laughter. You even chuckle because that was true. Your arches betrayed you. More and more voices, some solemn, some silly. Almost wrote a song you. Almost adopted a dog you. Almost got therapy sooner you. Almost said no that one time you should have. All with stories that echo in your bones. You don't speak. Not yet. Just listen. And then, finally, a version of you steps forward that looks tired. Not old, just worn. Like a book that's been reread too often. Their hoodie is familiar. Their eyes are yours, exactly. I'm the version that almost gave up, they say softly. On a Tuesday, in April. You remember. You do. They smile. But you didn't. You stood in a shower for 45 minutes, then made toast, then texted your friend a meme. It wasn't brave, but it was enough. Silence. You want to cry. You don't. But your breath hiccups slightly. And cereal cape. You hands you a tissue from the bleachers with a flourish. Then the scoreboard flashes again. Please remain seated for the final score. Every version of you stands. They look up. You look up. The scoreboard begins to tally numbers. Choices. Words left unsaid. Letters never sent. All the forks in all the roads. Tallied like baseball stats. And then, total lifetime almosts. 9,143. Total times you chose to continue anyway. 9,144. A cheer erupts. They clap for you. Every version. Even the one with the bad haircut and the questionable fashion phase from 2011. They clap for you. You stand slowly, not sure whether to bow or moonwalk, so you do both, kind of, and nearly trip over the chair. Someone yells, "Classic you!" More laughter. The lights dim again. One by one, your almosts begin to fade. Not disappear. Just step backward into the soft dusk. A few wave. One tosses you a tiny note, folded into a paper frog. You catch it. It says, "Try again." Every Tuesday. The gym begins to unravel at the corners like a dream with a frayed hem. The elevator doors appear again, tucked behind the old soda machine. You step through. Inside, the panel looks different now. The buttons no longer have labels, just symbols. A feather, a cracked teacup, a question mark with wings, and at the very top, the number just 0. No dot, no floor. Just 0. You reach toward it and hesitate, because something tells you that button is different. Permanent, maybe. Instead, you look around, and in the corner of the elevator you see something strange. A backpack. Old, familiar, covered in stickers you don't remember putting there but instantly recognize. Dinosaurs, a little alien, a weirdly proud tomato with sunglasses. You pick it up. Inside, it's packed with objects, a list, a paper flower, a cassette, a tissue, a frog, everything you've collected. And one last thing, a key. Simple, brass, warm in your hand. You don't know what it unlocks, but somehow you know exactly where it belongs. The elevator chimes. A soft voice, yours maybe, says, "Ready when you are." Waiting for continue. The key is heavy for its size. It feels like it holds weight, not just in metal, but in memory. You turn it over in your palm as the elevator hums quietly. You glance again at the symbol-labeled buttons. Feather, teacup, question mark, and the mysterious 0. You don't press any of them. Instead, you do something unexpected. You kneel. Right there on the softly lit elevator floor, you lower yourself and examine the panel just beneath the buttons. And wouldn't you know? It clicks. A hidden lock. Just the right shape for your key. You insert it slowly. It doesn't resist. It accepts. There's a subtle shift in air pressure, the kind you feel right before a thunderstorm or a really intense therapy session. A gentle clunk echoes deep within the walls, and then from the ceiling, a trapdoor opens with a sigh. A ladder drops down. "Oh, that's new," you whisper to absolutely no one. There's a moment of hesitation. This feels different. Less like a floor, more like an invitation. You climb. The ladder leads into darkness. Not pitch black. This is soft dark, the kind you find under thick blankets or during power outages with candles flickering in the next room. The air smells faintly of cinnamon and pencil shavings. You emerge into a loft space. Cozy, familiar. Your room. But not now. It's your room from when you were 11. A mix of chaos and comfort. Posters on the wall, planets, ninjas, a suspicious number of dolphins. A lava lamp glows green in the corner. A shelf leans under the weight of books, some real, some imagined, all beloved. You walk around slowly. Everything is smaller than you remember. Your bed's still unmade. The way you left it after pretending to fall asleep during that sleepover when you secretly stayed up reading about pirates. On the nightstand, a sketchbook. You flip through it. Dragons, robots, one very committed drawing of a waffle with a sword. The door opens. You expect a person. Instead, your inner child walks in. 11-year-old you. You blink. So do they. They stare up at you like you're a superhero and a ghost. You sit on the bed. So do they. Silence stretches for a beat. Then, "So, you're me?" they ask. "Yeah?" you say, unsure if your voice is comforting or weirdly nasal. "You look tired." You laugh. "You will too, but it'll be a good kind of tired." They nod thoughtfully. Then, "Did we ever become an astronaut?" You shake your head. "We did not." They frown, but only for a moment. "Do we still believe in aliens?" "Yes, but now we argue with people on the internet about them." They grin. "Cool." You reach into the backpack and pull out the folded paper frog. Their eyes widen. "No way. I invented that last week." "You did, and you'll forget about it in a few months." They look a little sad. "But you'll remember it again someday. Right when you need to." They take the frog, cradling it like treasure. "Do we still draw?" "Sometimes," you admit. "Not enough." They look up at you with a weirdly wise expression. "You should draw more." There's a long pause. You hand them the sketchbook. They hand you a crumpled piece of paper from their pocket. You unfold it. It's a checklist. Make a movie. Get good at whistling. Make friends with a ghost. Build a tree house. Save someone. Don't become boring. You both laugh at that last one. "I haven't done all of these," you say softly. Your younger self shrugs. "There's time." "Probably." They get up and point to the bookshelf. "That one's yours." You follow their finger. There, wedged between a choose-your-own adventure and an illustrated dinosaur encyclopedia, is a thick book with your name on the spine. Just your name. You pull it out. It's heavy, leather-bound. Feels like a novel, but looks like a diary. The pages are filled with everything you've done, thought, hesitated about, said under your breath, forgotten, remembered later. and on the last page, in neat, tidy handwriting, "Still in progress. Edit as needed." You wipe your eyes, blame dust. The lava lamp burbles in agreement. Your younger self yawns. "You gonna keep climbing?" You nod. "Can I come?" "Not yet," you say gently. "But I promise I'll send updates." They grin, hug you quick and tight, and vanish the way dreams do, around the edges without fanfare. You look up. Another ladder descends from the ceiling. You don't even hesitate. This time, the space you enter is wide and white. A studio. Part soundstage, part memory lab. Props from your life are scattered everywhere. The hoodie from college, your first phone, a box of letters you never sent, a chair shaped like a question mark. A mirror that shows your face as imagined by other people, and standing in the middle, looking equally confused, is your best friend. Not now you. Friend you. They look at you, blinking. "Wait, what is this?" You laugh. "I honestly have no idea anymore." They look around. Did we die? Maybe. Or maybe this is Tuesday's version of a group project. Together, you walk past a vending machine that depresses numbments. You press a button. Out pops a card. You make people feel seen, even when you don't realize it. Your friend presses theirs. You dance like nobody's watching, because usually nobody is. You both laugh for a full minute. Eventually, they say, "You know, if this is a dream, I don't want to wake up yet." You squeeze their hand. Then don't. There's another door. This one isn't labeled, just a small sticky note on it that says, "Come back when you're ready." You both nod and step through together anyway. And you're back. In the elevator. Just you now, but not alone. In your bag, the sketchbook, the frog, the compliment card, and the checklist are all still there. And your reflection in the polished steel doors smiles just a little wider than usual. The next button lights up. It's not a symbol this time. It's a sentence. This might be the good part. Waiting for continue, elevator hums like a lullaby. You stare at the glowing sentence on the button, "This might be the good part." It's not flashy, not ominous, just quietly hopeful. Like the first line of a poem someone wrote just for you and left taped to a bus stop. You press it. The elevator doesn't move. Instead, the light softens. A golden hue pours down from invisible sconces. You feel warm, the kind of warmth that settles into your bones, like stepping into a sunbeam on a chilly day. Then the doors part. You're standing on a quiet city street, but it's not a city. It's your city, made of every city you've ever visited, loved, or dreamed about. Brownstones line one side, tangled with ivy. Neon signs flicker on the other. One reads "Midnight Noodles," another just says "Yes." The sky above is twilight blue, streaked with soft pinks like cotton candy that refuse to grow up. You hear music. Faint at first, then louder as you walk. It's a street festival, but only half real. Faces blur and sparkle, recognizable for a moment and then gone. A barista from a trip to Portland. The woman who sat beside you on that one flight and gave you a butterscotch. The guy you almost kissed at the New Year's party in 2017. People you've known, almost known, or wished you had the courage to talk to. They're dancing. Not perfectly, but joyfully, with abandon. The way toddlers dance, or people who think nobody's watching. Even your middle school math teacher is doing the worm. Boldly. You laugh. A soft voice beside you says, "Hey." You turn. It's them. The person. The one who got away. Or maybe the one who never really arrived. They look at you like they've been waiting. Not in a desperate way. Just patiently. Like someone saving your seat at a concert. You blink. "Are you?" They shrug. "Maybe. Maybe not. Depends what you need tonight." You take their hand and follow them through the crowd. Everything slows down. You move past glowing food stalls selling impossible things. Nostalgia-flavored ice cream. Bottled confidence. Mac and cheese that cures self-doubt. Extra crispy top, of course. You order 2 scoops of Almost Summer 2010 and a root beer with a whisper of "what if?" They lead you to a rooftop. From up here, you can see the entire cityscape of your life. Buildings made of memories. Streets paved in old text messages. Traffic lights blinking with all the things you never said. You sit together. They ask, "What's something you were sure would break you but didn't?" You don't answer right away. Then softly, "There was a time I didn't think I'd make it to 30. They nod. No judgment. You did. You lean back. The air smells like jasmine and distant campfires. "Did we end up happy?" You ask them. They tilt their head. "That depends. Are you still curious? Still trying? Still dancing weird when no one's watching? You grin? Sometimes. Then I'd say, yeah, we're getting there. You sit in silence for a while. Not uncomfortable, just full. They pull something from their pocket, a cassette tape. This one's for you. You take it. The label is handwritten, faded but legible. Tuesday Nights and Soft Hope. You slip it into the Walkman in your backpack. When did that get there? And press play. A song starts. It's your favorite song. Not one that exists in the real world. One that feels like you. It starts slow, a piano, then a beat that sounds like footsteps on gravel, then wind chimes, and laughter, faint but sincere. It wraps around you like a blanket. Below, the crowd cheers as someone juggles fire and regret. You and the maybe person share a quiet smile. Then they say, time to go. You're not sad. Not really. Will I see you again? Of course. Every time you ask a what if without fear, you nod. Hug them. They feel like a campfire and a couch nap in that moment right before you sneeze, tense, then release. They step back. Fade. You descend the stairs. The street is quieter now. Lanterns bob in the air. Someone's humming the tune from the cassette. You spot the elevator. Not in a building this time, just standing on the corner. Like a phone booth that decided to reinvent itself. You walk in. The control panel glows gently. But now, instead of buttons, it's all sentences. Some are tiny, like whispers. Maybe don't text them back just yet. Wear the yellow shirt. Try the soup, even if it looks weird. Some are louder. Go back. Forgive them. Move forward. Forgive yourself. Buy the fancy soap. You deserve it. You scroll. One sentence is blinking. Speak out loud the truth you haven't said. You hesitate. The elevator waits. So you do. You say it. Whatever it is. Something raw, simple, real. I want to be loved even when I don't know how to ask for it. Or, I'm tired of pretending I'm not scared. Or maybe, I'm still proud of me, even when it's quiet. The lights in the elevator shift. The air changes again. A tiny brass bell dings. A printed slip of paper drops into the slot, like a fortune cookie without the calories. You pick it up. It says, thank you. That's enough for now. The elevator chimes again. One last sentence fades into view. This is the part where you rest. Waiting for continue. The elevator dims, not in a scary power outage kind of way, more like the lights are tucking you in. The soft hush of machinery fades into a lull, like waves against sand or an old record spinning its final loop. You lean against the wall. Exhale. Your body remembers what stillness feels like. You glance at the panel. There's just one button left. Not a symbol, not a phrase, just a time. 3:17 a.m. You don't press it, you touch it, gently, like it's the last firefly in a jar. The elevator doors open without a sound. This place is quiet, still. You're in a house, not one you live in, but one you remember. It's pieces of every house you've ever called home, your childhood living room, that weird studio with the teal tile, the rental with the creaky pipes and the kind landlord, even that Airbnb in the woods with no Wi-Fi and too many raccoons. It's dimly lit with the glow of lamps that were always too warm. The kind that hum a little when you get close. You walk barefoot. Carpet, wood, tile, textures changing like old chapters. Framed photos line the hall, but the faces are turned away, as if shy. Each door you pass has a feeling attached. One gives off a smell like your first car. Another echoes with laughter that's yours and not yours. You pause at one painted navy blue. It's slightly ajar. Inside, your regrets, stacked neatly like old VHS tapes. All labeled, all rewound. You don't open them. Not tonight. Instead, you walk to the end of the hallway where a small door waits. It's child-sized. You kneel. Inside, it's a room made of stars. No walls, no ceiling, just space. You crawl in. The air feels cool, alive, and floating in the center, a couch. Of course, the perfect couch. Somewhere between memory foam and a hug from someone who knows how to hold you just right. There's a fuzzy blanket already half-draped and a chipped mug on a coaster that says, you tried. You curl up. A figure enters. No face. But they feel familiar. Like your favorite song in hoodie form. They sit beside you and wordlessly hand you something wrapped in tissue paper. You open it. Inside, your first lost tooth, a worn metro ticket, a dried flower petal from that date that almost went somewhere, a fortune that reads, you're already enough, and a tiny key. Another one. You look at it, then at them. Where does this go? They smile, not with a mouth, but with presence. You'll know. A pause. You always do, eventually. You laugh softly. Eventually is kind of my brand. They pull out a projector and flip it on. The wall, or space, or fabric of dream becomes a screen. Clips play. Home movies, but not real ones. Moments you forgot were moments. You arguing with your reflection at age 12. You dancing with socks on your hands. You crying over a broken shoelace and realizing it wasn't about the shoelace. You laughing so hard soda came out your nose. You, at 3:17 a.m. once, sitting alone, deciding not to quit. The figure puts a hand on your shoulder. Do you want to go back? They ask. You consider this. It's tempting to stay here forever, in a room made of soft darkness and good memories. But, not yet, you say, but I'm getting close. They nod. There's one more floor. You raise an eyebrow. I thought this was it. They stand. This is the pause before the last page, the inhale. You look around once more. Something flickers in your chest. Not regret, not sadness, readiness. You climb off the couch, stretch. The fuzzy blanket stays behind, folded neatly now. The mug is refilled. Before you leave, you press your palm to the wall of stars. It pulses back. The crawl space leads to a hallway again, but this time the photos face forward. You see yourself, in costume, in tears, in triumph, in terrible haircuts. All versions, all valid. And as you pass them, each version of you gives a tiny, sleepy nod. At the end of the hall, the elevator. Still waiting, still gentle. You step inside. The control panel is blank now, except for one thing, a slot. Just the right size for your tiny key. You don't hesitate this time. The key clicks. The elevator moves. Up, down. Hard to say. It hums differently now, more like a heartbeat. More like the voice of someone reading to you while you drift off. A memory floats up. Falling asleep in the backseat of a car, headlights casting soft tunnels on highway walls. Safe. Not sure where you're going, but knowing someone is driving. That's what this feels like. The lights dim further. A soft voice, maybe the elevator itself, says, "One more stop." And you? You smile. You're not afraid of the next part. You're ready to see what waits. Waiting for continue, the elevator glides. You don't feel the motion so much as remember it happening, like when you realize hours later that you fell asleep during the third act of a movie, but still somehow know how it ended. There's no ding this time, just a silence that leans in, like the pause before someone tells you a secret. The doors open. You step out onto nothing, just a wide, open stretch of space. Not outer space, not sky. It's softer than that. A pale horizon with no edges. The ground is solid but cloud-like. You can walk, but there's no sound from your steps, like tiptoeing across a giant marshmallow, or walking in a dream where gravity is being polite. You walk forward, because what else do you do in a place like this? After a few steps, you notice things starting to form. Ideas. Not objects. Not at first. A memory becomes a tree. A hope becomes a tiny glowing orb that hovers beside your shoulder like a firefly with good intentions. An unspoken desire takes shape as a paper airplane that loops lazily through the air before vanishing. This is a place where thoughts become things. You stop. A chair appears. You think, something cozier. The chair politely morphs into a squishy armchair with cup holders and a knitted throw blanket made of compliments your friends forgot to say out loud. You sink into it. The sky above shifts colors gently. Pastels, mostly. A hint of lavender here, a whisper of peach there. It smells like clean sheets and old bookstores. A figure appears in front of you. This time it's you, but different. Not the younger you, not the future you, the other you, the version of you that's always been watching from just behind the mirror, the one that's seen everything and judged nothing. They sit across from you. No words at first. Just a shared stillness, a recognition. Finally, they speak. Did you find what you needed? You shrug. I'm not sure yet. They nod. That's okay. You still showed up. That counts. You ask, where is this? They gesture around. This is where you go when you're almost asleep, but your brain's still finishing its sentence. You smirk. Explains the floating breadstick. Yes, there's a floating breadstick now, and it's spinning slowly like it's auditioning for a low-budget ballet. They continue. This place exists between things. Like when a page turns in a book and your fingers hold both sides for just a second. That's where you are. Is it real? Real enough, they say. You made it, after all. You watch them. Their posture is relaxed, their smile soft, their hair looks better than yours ever does in real life, and you silently curse the dream logic that gave them better product. What happens next? They point behind you. You turn. There's a door. Simple. Wooden, round handle, no label. Your heartbeat slows a little, not from fear, from awe. Is this the end, you ask? They tilt their head. Not they end, just an end. Like when the credits roll, but you know there's a post-credits scene. You laugh. I hope there's snacks in the post-credits scene. Your other self stands. They offer you a hand. You take it. Together, you walk to the door. Before you open it, they say, whatever's on the other side. You made space for it. That's brave. You pause. Will I forget all this? Maybe not all. Dreams have a way of leaking into the folds of real life. You might remember how this place felt, even if the details slip. That feels enough. You open the door. It leads not to a new room, but a feeling. Like the way your body feels right before you fall asleep on the couch and decide not to fight it. You step forward. The floor beneath your feet becomes a field. You're outside now. Tall grass. Fireflies. The night hums with the sounds of distant frogs and maybe a really chill banjo in the distance for some reason. You lie down. The stars above aren't constellations. They're text messages you never sent, things you almost said, and smiles you earned the hard way. You take a breath, close your eyes, and then, one more ding. It's the elevator, waiting patiently, just behind you. You sit up, surprised. It speaks in that soft metallic voice it's had all along. One more gift, it says. You step inside. The panel lights up. Only one option. For later. You press it. A drawer opens below the buttons. Inside, a small envelope sealed in gold wax. You don't open it. Not yet. You tuck it into your pocket. It's meant to be opened on a bad day, or a weird Tuesday, or the next time you forget that soft things can be strong too. The elevator whispers, rest now. You smile. You're not sure where you'll wake up, but you know, whatever the floor, whatever the room, whatever the version of you that steps out next, it'll be okay. Because you were here, and you remembered how to get back. Waiting for continue. The elevator lets you go. Not with a jolt, not with a ding, just a sigh. You step out, barefoot again, onto soft grass. Real this time. Cool against your skin. There's morning dew even though it's still night. The air smells like after rain, like wet stone and distant lavender. You're in a meadow. Not vast, not intimidating. Just enough room for you. Trees border the space like quiet guardians. The moon is fat and silver and slightly tilted, as if smiling at you sideways. And in the center of the meadow, a table. Wooden, round, painted the color of calm oceans. 4 mismatched chairs surround it. A tea set is already arranged. Steam curls lazily from the spout. Someone's been expecting you. 3 figures sit waiting. None of them speak. You recognize them all. One is your younger self, the version that still wore band-aids like stickers and thought glitter was a lifestyle choice. She swings her legs, sipping tea from a chipped mug with, I'm a big deal on it. The second is someone you lost. They don't have to speak. Their eyes say it all. The third is a future version of you, wise, wrinkled, still weirdly stylish. They're wearing a cardigan with too many pockets. You get the feeling some of those pockets hold candy, and one holds a tiny lizard named Chad. You sit. The tea is warm, tastes like chamomile and kitchen light. No one asks what happens next. No one has to. They just share space with you, no expectations, just presence. Eventually, young you asks, did we turn out okay? You nod. Yeah, not always on time, but okay. Old you winks. You still wear socks to bed, though, kinda bold. You laugh. So do they. The one you lost reaches out. Their fingers brush yours. You still carry too much, they say. You know that, right? You nod. I'm learning. We know. There's a silence then. Not heavy, not sad. Just a pause. A breath. Like when someone's about to say something important but realizes they don't have to. Old you stands. Ready? You hesitate. You look around the meadow at the figures who aren't really real, but feel more real than anything. Then you glance at your pocket. The envelope is still there, still sealed, still glowing faintly. For later, you feel the tug of sleep, not drowsiness, sleep, the kind that wraps around your ribs and says, you can rest now. You rise. You hug your younger self. They squeeze tight and whisper, don't forget the sparkle toothpaste. You snort. You hug the one you lost. Their warmth stays in your skin even after they vanish, and you embrace your future self. They murmur, we'll keep going. You're doing fine. When you turn around, the elevator has vanished. In its place is a path, lit by tiny lanterns made from memories. You follow it. With each step, the world softens, not fades. softens. Colors blur gently at the edges. Sounds become lullabies. Your thoughts quiet. You reach the end of the path. A bed waits there. Outdoors, under the stars, blankets pulled back like an invitation. You climb in. The sheets feel like forgiveness. The pillow smells like someone you loved once long ago. And when you close your eyes, the stars shift slightly, forming one last message. You made it. Then everything exhales.